welcome to what is it, episode 48? 48. Wow, as I'm starting to talk, I realize how tired I was. 848 of the Paperwork Podcast with your boys, Rest Pass, Peach, and Walt. Again, I'm tired, so Peach is not here today. I'm not even going to do something funny with it. The closest thing with Peachy is Harper Watch 2019 is still going on. I think we're on day 732 of whether or not he is going to sign with the Phillies or not. That's about all
I thought you meant Luke Harper.
It's funny that we could have determined. Where is he? Is he still hurt? Like, legitimately, because they just brought Rowan back as...
the new Harper will be coming back soon.
Oh, man. Is he going to be an eco freak? Oh, man. Welcome to Rest Pass. How are you doing today, sir?
I am tired.
Oh, man. Is this going to be another spectacular episode?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, the subject matter of this, it's probably the perfect episode for both of us to be tired.
Why?
At the end of the episode, we can rest in peace.
Oh, my God. I hate you so much. Oh, my God. Oh, man. No. Shut it down. To that point, just so we're gonna talk Undertaker today, just because he's doing a non-WWE appearance, and that just really interests me.
Yeah.
But let's quickly discuss. Did you watch any Elimination Chamber last night?
I did.
Oh, you did?
I actually, yeah. Okay. I watched the whole Elimination Chamber, the WWE title match.
How was it? How Kofi looked? Because I heard he looked.
Kofi looked good.
He looked amazing.
Yeah, he looked really good. At first, he got a little jumbled. I don't know if it was necessarily him. He got you could tell he was excited at the beginning. Obviously, you know kind of what happened, right? You know,
yeah,
the basis of what happened if you didn't see it. But for those of you that didn't see it, stop listening. But I'm sure by now you've seen it 18 times on Monday Night Raw and 13 times on SmackDown. So, but they were down to the final two. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Played the crowd. I mean, the crowd was really for Kofi. I know you predicted for him to win. And
the that's why I wanted to tell. I predicted Kofi to win just because I could see WWE throwing a curveball like this. Similar to what they did with Bray Wyatt at the Elimination Chamber 2 years ago or 3 years ago. I forget when it was. Let him get the win. He gets the title, and then they take it right off of him at WrestleMania. To have like a big WrestleMania type moment for.
Yeah, I was even thinking because there's still one more pay-per-view. I've completely
that was it.
Fastlane's in between it.
Is it? No, I don't think so.
There's 49 days until WrestleMania.
See, I wish they would build up.
I didn't even realize this, and I remember reading somewhere. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I thought I remembered reading somewhere they said there's still Elimination Chamber and Fastlane.
I'm looking it up now, but continue what you were saying about before.
What I was going to say was, they played it up perfectly. Oh man, they made him look so strong. I did not see the SmackDown match. I know a lot of people had great things to say about Kofi, so I figured he would have had a strong showing in the Chamber match too. They made him look really strong. Oh man, they make him look really strong, and I knew it made sense because, no offense to Kofi, but it's somebody that has the look that Daniel Bryan could overpower him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it worked out perfectly where you had them two in the match. It was believable that Bryan at one point can just basically he's just stomping on his head and everything, but they made him look really good. I hope they continue to push him. I don't see him in the main event. I don't see him for the WWE title, but maybe they push him a little bit towards the U.S. You know, I'd like to see another Kofi Kingston singles run. I thought when New Day came together that they would have been doing that with Big E, and Kofi and Xavier Woods would kind of had a tag team run. So I like the idea of one kind of getting a singles title run, and Kofi deserves it more than the others, to be honest with you.
They did an awesome backstage promo after Elimination Chamber with all three of them, and Big E gets choked up in the middle of it just because I guess how proud they were of Kofi. And so I like our predictions. I picked Kofi for this match, like I said, for the other reasons, like, okay, they can get the title off of him real quick before WrestleMania. I didn't realize there was a pay-per-view between now and WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But what the heck was I just gonna say? Basically, like, New Day, like, if you ever saw, like, Xavier Woods, his goal is not for him to become WWE champion, it's for Kofi to become WWE champion. Like, and they, like, whatever the New Day is, they should never break up. And I legitimately think they are not going to ever break up.
Yeah, and that's what I said. That's what I like, the idea of one of them going into singles. And to be honest with you, Fastlane, you could see realistically a Kofi versus Daniel Bryan 1-on-1 for the title. And I would hope, if they're not going to do it at WrestleMania, because I don't see him winning it, but I think he deserves that spotlight of him for the title 1-on-1. And you can get it out of the way with Fastlane without using WrestleMania for it. No offense to Kofi, but I don't know that they're going to do him versus Daniel Bryan 1-on-1 at WrestleMania. I just don't know that they would. Not with guys like AJ Styles and stuff not necessarily having a match. So you're not going to get that 1-on-1 match that you can give it to him at Fastlane.
Yeah, that's what I don't know who, like, Brian. I forget what we talked about during our, like, predictions episode, but I have no idea of right now who Brian's going to face for the title at Mania.
I think we landed kind of on a multi-man match. Like, this was one of the more likely multi-man matches, but I think we kind of both fell on AJ against Bryan again.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the good thing about... I mean, AJ got eliminated, I think, relatively early in this match, if I remember right. Samoa Joe went out first. I think it was AJ, then Jeff Hardy. I could be wrong. But he was in the final three. It was Orton, Kofi, and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
But now if you do Kofi against Daniel Bryan at Fastlane, it kind of distances AJ and Bryan for a little bit. So if you bring them back at WrestleMania, at least you haven't seen them for 5 straight pay-per-views leading up to it.
Yeah, it's a little more fresh. And, like, it sucks to say that it seems like we're bored with the idea of a Daniel Bryan AJ Styles match. like how greedy are we?
WWE does it, though. I mean, we even talked about Ziggler, Seth Rollins. Ziggler, Seth Rollins. That's all you gotta say is Ziggler, Seth Rollins. You've seen it so many different... They've had so many matches on Raw and pay-per-views, and then you give us an Iron Man match, it's like, alright, we've just seen it 6 times in the last 3 weeks. Like, how the hell...
Exactly. So, I guess that's our little Kofi recap. It's sad Peachy's not here for it, I'm sure.
Yeah. Just tell him to watch it. He'll love it. They made him look really strong, and if that's the most he gets out of this, it sucks, but they made him look strong. They made him look really strong. At one point, Daniel Bryan started kicking him.
Well, I saw he kicked out of Daniel's flying knee.
Yeah.
Like that I couldn't believe.
Yeah, Bryan was giving him the kicks to the ribs, and at one point, Kofi started like slapping his ribs and telling him to kick him more. Like, so they made him look. It's not like they made him look like he was getting bursts of energy and almost winning on roll-ups and stuff. He was hitting moves on him. It was. I mean, it was perfectly done, I think, by them. You almost have to give WWE credit when they do things correctly, and this was done correctly. And Kofi only lost the match because he got up on top of one of the pods, tried to kind of do a splash, and Bryan rolled out of the way. And this was after he already got hit with a flying knee, after Kofi already hit him, I think, with Trouble in Paradise. And what's the other? The SOS, I think he hit him with earlier. You know, there was a lot of kickouts. Kofi rolled him up for like a 2.5, and then Bryan flipped that roll up, and the camera went off into the crowd and came back. And I was like, I'm thinking this is how they're going to end the match. The crowd's going to be so pissed, but they didn't. There was a lot of kickouts. It was, he had to get hit with at least 2 flying knees, if not more than 2, to actually lose. So.
And that's what gives me credence to think that they are going to get a 1-on-1 match, either at Fastlane or Mania.
Yeah, I would hope
the Mania one would actually
makes more sense.
The Mania one makes sense almost. Like if you look at like from a storyline standpoint, heel, good versus bad, heel, especially with like the New Day and how Daniel Bryan wants to save the planet. Like they could kind of morph that into.
It would be an excellent way to start Mania too.
Yes, that would
because
be
it would never end the show. It would never. And now that you have the women's ending it, you need to find somewhere for that title match.
exactly not so that it doesn't get lost.
Yeah, and that could definitely start Mania, get the crowd into it with Kofi. And you don't need Kofi to win. You don't need Kofi to win. You just need to put on another good showing at WrestleMania. So I agree with you.
And an opening match with a screwy finish with like Rowan getting involved or something like that. I think that would, because of what else they have being set up for Mania this year. I agree. I think it'd be a good opening match.
I just don't know where AJ Styles fits in the pay-per-view at that point. That's the only.
Yeah,
That's the only worry with that is where he fits. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that's my only like. Can they really do that and then put AJ Styles in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal?
Yeah, he's not going to be in there.
Yeah, so at that point now you have to figure something else out, and
I'm sure they will. But all right, let's talk Undertaker.
10 minutes of Kofi.
He needed I wanted based off everything I saw, I was just like we're definitely going to break out in the conversation about that.
Yeah, I was happy I put it on at the time I did. It was let's say I didn't watch the whole thing. None of it really interested me that much.
Yeah, the women's tag team titles I saw Bailey and Sasha won.
Yeah, which we both predicted the same results for the episode. Now we were both wrong on 2. Well, you were wrong on 3 because we.
Well, that's why I didn't.
Championship
I
match.
forget what yours was, but I was just like, this is one of those pay-per-views that the winners probably already. It's really easy to determine who the winners are.
I didn't know Corbin and Strowman was a no DQ, or else I would have probably picked Corbin. We both picked Strowman.
Who won that?
Corbin.
Oh, I didn't.
McIntyre and Lashley came out and helped.
Oh,
but Finn Balor won the title. We both had Finn Balor beating Lashley.
Lashley
the other match
and
we were
Lilo
wrong
Rush.
on.
There's a 2-on-1 match.
And I didn't even know that. Yeah. And the Usos won the titles.
Yeah, after Jimmy got arrested for trying to fight a cop. I think it was Jimmy.
I would have picked the Usos to win had you've talked me out of what I thought was going to happen at WrestleMania weeks ago, and now I'm mad at myself because I'm so convinced that you're right. I told you that at some point they have to lose the titles because they have to lead into a feud between Shane McMahon and Miz. And they're going to have a one-on-one match at WrestleMania, and you're like, no, they're going to hold the titles at WrestleMania.
I thought they were.
And I was like, you know what? You're probably right. So I've been convinced, and this is the perfect time for them to lose the titles, and they did. So, but
sorry.
I blame you for that.
Nah, it's fine.
That's what I get for listening to a filthy casual, as PC would say.
I have logic behind my arguments.
Yeah, but WWE has no logic.
That's true. And no logic because they let the Undertaker do outside WWE appearances. Great turning point. I don't even know what the word is right now.
Segue.
Thank you. No, so I wanted to discuss kind of Undertaker a little bit, just with it was announced.
Transition.
What was that?
Transition. That's the word you're looking for.
All right, this is not.
I'm sorry, I'm tired too, Walt. All right.
Undertaker is scheduled to appear at the StarCast panel show the weekend of AEW, Double or Nothing in Las Vegas. I thought this was big because this is probably, I didn't look it up, but this is probably the first outside WWE appearance Undertaker has done in ever. And he's billed as Mark Calloway as the Undertaker or something like that. So both of his names are there. I'm surprised that this is happening. I know he's making a shit ton of money for the quick appearances, but I'm just surprised WWE is like letting this happen. And I don't know, like this just opens up now. The Undertaker's not with WWE.
Well,
he is, but he isn't. So, like a lot of things, like so right before the episode, like you brought up everybody else that's kind of appearing there, like Sting, Bret Hart, Lita, were a couple names you threw out there.
Yeah.
All these guys have appeared outside of WWE. Sting, most notably. But Undertaker hasn't. And like it's just like do we get an Undertaker appearance at AEW at Double or Nothing?
No.
I don't think so. But the fact that possibility is there, like
I know it only benefits AEW. It's no different than them being in Chicago last year.
Exactly. That was going to be my comparison.
They got nothing but questions about CM Punk, and it was the perfect place to do it. And I think they did it on purpose. I honestly do. I think they did it on purpose. They could say they didn't. I think they did it on purpose because CM Punk was still fresh in everybody's minds. CM Punk is an indie god, and they're supposed to be the show bringing all the independent scenes together. It made sense. They never even had to mention CM Punk's name, and people were just going to ask them. And all they're doing is answering questions. It's no different now. They're going to get asked constantly about The Undertaker. Constantly. Yeah. This whole Starcast is going to be a bunch of questions about The Undertaker.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to be really vague in their answers, and Cody's going to dance around it like he did with Punk. You know, just to get that up there so people are going to watch it and be like, hey, is The Undertaker going to show up? And it's one thing for him to do these type of appearances, which I don't know. I don't think WWE could have stopped him from doing this.
They could have. Because look, WWE guys don't do these. It depends on the contract they have signed with them.
But that's my point. I think The Undertaker's contract is a little different than a lot of other guys.
It's The Undertaker. So, and this is what the other thing, too, is, they're letting him use the Undertaker gimmick.
Yeah.
As well. I get, that gimmick would not have worked with anybody else other than Mark Calloway. It's almost like Batman. Bruce Wayne is the character Batman is Batman. His identity, his secret identity, is Bruce Wayne. His alter ego. That's who he pretends to be. He is always Batman. Mark Calloway, in my mind, is always The Undertaker. And he just puts on the Mark Calloway face as if he has to go to Whole Foods to get some healthy organic treats for himself. Side note, that just reminded me, and I don't know why, you
need to get healthy treats?
Well, I have some... they did a special release of Mickey Premium bars from, Disney World in your local freezer section. And I picked up a 6-pack that I have in my kitchen right now.
Mickey Premium bars?
Mickey Premium bars. The standard Mickey ice cream bar that you get in Disney. Oh,
really?
Yes. Keep an eye out for them. I've got a 6-pack of them that I might...
Where at?
I got it at Target.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe
check your local Whole Foods while you're standing in line behind Mark Calloway. The Undertaker. How funny would that be to see Mark Calloway eating a Mickey Premium bar? Because that's
what I'm excited for is to find out that The Undertaker, he was taking photographs between David Arquette and there's nobody else as funny as David Arquette. Just David Arquette. Undertaker's in the corner next to David Arquette taking pictures.
Dude. This is my other thing too, and I hope
Joey Ryan and David Arquette on both sides of The Undertaker. I just want a picture of that.
Oh my god. Because all Joey Ryan would do is Undertaker would have a sign that say "would rest in peace," and then Joey Ryan would just put penis afterwards. No, but this was part of my discussion with it too. Are we gonna get this Undertaker now? The one that just shows up to these events?
Well, if you give him $60,000 for 3 hours, yes.
Do you think we to me, the allure of The Undertaker is wearing off. Him being, that mysterious...
Well, he's 80.
He's only, 50.
He's 60.
I don't think he's 60 yet. I think he's, 57, 58. No, but do you get what I'm saying? How...
Did you expect him to just, when he stopped wrestling to die? Yeah, he's 53.
Yeah, 53. That's
Like to just go in a ranch somewhere and never be seen again.
yes. That's honestly
That's
yes.
what you expect it for him to retire, to just sit at home and just be done with his life.
Yes.
If this dude for 3 hours a year can make $60,000 plus $150 for
a photo
pictures, and he's probably charging $700 to get something signed or some shit, like you're telling me he does all that?
I am looking. So I am going into this like the story. Like I get it. Like it makes perfect sense that he is going to do these appearances now. But I hope he keeps like I just hope he keeps him like again like I don't want him appearing at the convention Jared and I went to last year right before like right during WrestleMania weekend where you did have the Steiner brothers sitting in the corner by themselves. Just looking sad and alone. Lex Luger was there too, and nobody wanted to say hi to him. Like that's what I don't want to see.
He's going to.
But I don't. I just hope he's not at every single one of them. Like I hope, like if he does 1 or 2 a year, that's fine. But like I don't want to see him at like I forget what the hell it's called. It's like Legends of Wrestling or. Do you know
was Ric Flair there?
Huh?
Was Ric Flair there?
Ric Flair, but he was the headliner for it, and
that's my point.
And it was
my point to you
Four
is,
Horsemen.
And I know what you're going to say about the Undertaker that it's different, but it's not. Ric Flair is considered one of, to some people, the greatest wrestler of all time. Yeah. To some people, and others, he's in most people's top 5, I would say.
Yes.
As far as greatest wrestlers of all time, and he's at these things. I've realized the Undertaker gimmick. I get what you're saying.
That's what.
But he's still a person.
It's
not like he's sitting at home like, and WWE's paying him millions of dollars just to continue the gimmick for their sake. And Undertaker don't give a fuck. I mean, I'm sorry to say that Undertaker does not care to the point that he's not going to make money.
He did care. He did care because of how guarded he kept that character. Look at all the years, but look through all the years of Undertaker, and you never saw like anything out there of Mark Calloway. Like you never saw pictures of him with Michelle McCool.
But that was before nowadays. Nowadays it's too easy for him to get caught, and it doesn't.
Well, no, this is like 3 years ago. Like this is within it was.
He still got things caught every once in a while. He went to UFC like 5 years ago.
Yes, that was the little off the. That was more than 5 years ago, before the Lesnar match.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
And that's not like I don't think they even called him Mark Calloway. I think they called him the Undertaker when he was on there. But still, it's like it has slowly diminished.
It has
been,
but
that's because he sees the writing on the wall.
You're right.
He's not going to be right by WWE because they're not going to pay him for the rest of his life. He'll get his Legends contract like everybody else does, and then he'll go off and do these appearances. Yes, I hope he's selected, but I wish Ric Flair would have been. I wish Ric Flair never went to TNA and did the shit he did. I wish Mick Foley never went to TNA and did the shit he did. I wish those guys just kind of went off, but they're all the same way. They're every single one of them. You're going to tell me that when Undertaker's done with WWE, he's not going to have a one-off appearance at some wrestling show? Because he is. He absolutely is.
He's going to have it at Bar Wrestling with Joey Ryan. Have you ever seen videos?
I don't even think it's going to be AEW. I'm not sitting here promoting that Undertaker's going to be in AEW in any fashion. And if I was AEW, I'd stay far away from it. I just would. I don't want to be perceived as TNA. And I think that starts throwing you into what TNA tried to do with all those guys.
Yeah, AEW.
Kurt Angle was a different beast for TNA. And they did right by that, and then they started putting, no offense to these guys, but guys like Christian in their main event, basing their show around it. It's like, Kurt Angle was what you needed. That main event Mafia was nice, where they brought in those guys around each other, and you had, Booker T, Sting, Kevin Nash,
Scott
Steiner, and Kurt Angle.
Buff Bagwell.
And Kurt Angle was the head of it.
Yes.
And the guys were behind them. So they were older veterans, but they were kind of with Kurt Angle. And Kurt Angle kind of presented that well. And it was nice. It was nice when they did that. And then when they started making Bischoff and Hogan and, like I said, Christians in your main event, it got to be too much. Now, if you're going to bring Undertaker to have a one-off match at one of your Double or Nothing All-In events, your WrestleMania, let's say, you're going to have him come in as a one-off match against somebody you've never seen him wrestle before, like a Kenny Omega. Okay, but don't bring him in to show up on your thing. It just, and I hate that I'm saying that because I love the Undertaker. I think it would be great press for them. But you don't want the Undertaker holding your title. You do not want a 55-year-old Undertaker holding your title. You just don't.
I agree. Like my thing, like I hope you don't get. You're right. But the Kurt Angle thing to me, like when he went in, he wasn't at that Legends. He was, but he wasn't. He was
the guy at WWE. He was the. I'm trying to think who I could compare it with, and all I can compare it with is him. He made everything he did better. He was the guy that could move to ECW and make the face of ECW, the face of SmackDown, and it was okay. He was what AJ Styles is right now for them, what Daniel Bryan is for them right now. That's what he was.
Yeah.
He was the guy that he could wrestle for the Intercontinental one week, wrestle for the WWE title the next week, and you didn't question it.
And it made sense.
Yeah. And it completely made sense, but he was a perfect guy for a show like that because he was still in the relative prime of his career.
Exactly. That's
why he didn't have 17 neck surgeries, and his neck looks like it's wider than his head now. He doesn't look like he's struggling to hold his head up in the ring. Like that Kurt Angle, and honestly, Jeff Hardy fell into their laps too. Unfortunately, Jeff Hardy fell into their laps for a certain reason.
There's a reason why WWE got rid of him, and that's what's shitty.
Yeah, WWE did not get rid of Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle left WWE because he wanted less appearances, and they were not okay with it.
And I think I thought he had a problem too with like pain pills.
Yeah, but I don't think it was at that level. I think WWE wanted to keep him.
Oh, okay. I thought
if I remember right, WWE was trying to keep him, but he wanted less dates, and at that time they weren't giving it to him.
Okay.
They weren't giving those type of contracts out. They might have suspended him or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember at the time the biggest point between them two was he just wanted less dates. And they were not giving those type of contracts out. Nowadays, he would have had no problem.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, they're giving... I mean, if all these rumors are true, giving Daniel Bryan creative control and doing this... Or not creative control, giving him right to refusal, I believe, is what Daniel Bryan has in his latest contract. Because rumor has it, don't want to get off too much off of this, which we already kind of have.
That's fine.
But rumor has it that I've been correct in the Dean Ambrose thing this whole time, and that he's basically trying to prove that he can cause some type of I can't think of the word I'm thinking for, a buzz. He could cause some type of buzz. Apparently he had an idea for a storyline, and this isn't exactly what it was, what he's doing now, but he thought he could cause buzz, and it basically is, if he can and prove it to them, it might give him that refusal in his contract. Like, he's kind of fighting for a new thing in his next contract, apparently. Okay. And I don't know how true it is. It's a rumor, but, I don't know. I'm just going off of something I read. But apparently that is the idea. Apparently he wanted, like, something. If this thing is right, and it's as crazy as it sounds, I would not be surprised. He wanted some type of storyline where, like, either it said he got killed or he killed somebody and he had to leave or something and then come back, and then they shut it down right away. Like, they shut it down right away, so now they're doing this where he's kind of leaving. Like, he was supposed to leave because he killed somebody or some stupid shit. Like, yeah, so, like, it's kind of the thing that he was supposed to be doing without them, but it was more, they were just trying to create buzz around his contract ending.
Okay.
And maybe we'll see a little bit more of that because we still have 49 days, 48 days, whatever, until WrestleMania. But, like to have guys being like, well, yeah, if you could create enough buzz, we'll give you refusal on your contract. Like, this is the same company that years ago let Kurt Angle walk because they wouldn't give him less dates. Like, so
it made Kurt Angle better, I think, though.
I think so too. I think it hurt his WWE legacy, but I don't know his WWE legacy was going to get any better. I think he was pigeonholed at that spot he was at. He was a Hall of Famer when he left.
Yeah.
But he was never going to become the greatest, even though if you look back at his career, he did things some guys have never done in this business, and they're viewed as better than him, which is crazy to think. Like, he was able to play the comedy gimmick one day, and the next day do a serious gimmick, and
be the wrestling machine.
Yeah, and you never looked at it like, it's not like where you view the Big Show, like, oh my God, is he face or heel today? Like, Kurt Angle could literally make you laugh 1 second and scared the next second, and you're not like, they're confused at what they're doing with him.
No, I agree. Like, and that's why I think, like, even Kurt Angle leaving, like, I get what you're saying, but I think it also enhanced his WWE legacy because it just...
I just wish he would have come back before he was...
not able to wrestle, really.
Yes. Yeah. I wish he had left for a couple years and come back sooner.
I agree. There are some matches we could have gotten. So the Undertaker appearing.
Well, listen, there was a point to that whole thing.
It was a stretch of a topic that I went for anyway. So yeah. I enjoy that we're breaking off into other conversation.
All right. Well, we're talking Undertaker, right? We wanted to not make this. Excuse me. We wanted to not make this so WWE centric because a lot of stuff we talk about is WWE centric. So we're just kind of trying to stay on the Undertaker a little bit.
Yeah. God.
If he wrestled one match, we always say it the reverse. It's always if one guy can come to the WWE and wrestle at WrestleMania, who we want it to be, right? If you could see the Undertaker wrestle one guy outside of WWE, who would it be?
I don't. That's a good.
And I already know who I want. And it's going to be hilarious. I know who I want, and I want this at the main event of I don't care where. If New Japan can give it to us, great. If AEW can at one of their events, great. I know who I want, and it's going to be an awful match, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
The one, and it's funny now because he just signed with WWE apparently. But I don't think it would make sense for the Undertaker. It would more make sense for Kane. Would be Abyss.
Yeah.
Who? Oh God, who else?
Yeah, because Abyss is an on-air talent, right? He's like a backstage. They signed him to like a backstage.
I think so. Yeah.
I think.
What were you thinking? So who are you thinking? Let's go.
Well, I'm gonna say two guys that would not be signed with AEW. I would love to see them put this on a show, and it's the one match we never got with WWE.
Sting.
I'm perfectly fine with seeing that outside WWE ring. If you could give me Sting against the Undertaker in one match. And you put it in an AEW show and you want to promote the fuck out of that, dude, you're going to get any WWE fan that's like AEW's nothing would then have to pay attention to it. Because it's the one match WWE's not giving us.
That is true.
And you give us two 60-year-old wrestlers in the ring, I don't care. You get them to come out looking somewhat like their gimmick. Don't give me Mark Calloway against Steve Borden. You give me the Undertaker against Sting.
That's the match I would want to see. Mark Calloway.
But I mean, you give me at least close enough to their gimmicks. Give me it close enough to their gimmicks. We've already seen Sting wear that face paint outside of WWE. We've seen him do it in TNA. The Undertaker, if you could give me his gimmick, it doesn't even have to be his music, but close enough to his music.
Undertaker, I think I would need his music.
And I don't think they could get that.
I don't know.
I don't think they could. I don't think they can get that, but you get something close enough to it.
Yeah.
You just need something close enough to it and still give me the same entrance. If you can give me the same entrance and something close enough to his music, I'd watch that all day long. You can literally, I don't care who your title match is at that show. You give me that, I will pay you whatever you want to go see it.
That thing
sells out a huge arena. It just does.
Oh,
WWE fans would go nuts for it. The people that want nothing to do with AEW would go nuts for it. Now, whether they could afford to do it, I don't know.
I think they could. With the
they would have to do it now before they start losing money. That shit's got to get done sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
but,
that would. Oh my god, that would. Yeah, I didn't even I forgot about that match.
And you just need it one-off. You don't need them to promote shit. You don't need to show. Sting and Undertaker did not show up for one show leading up to that event. You can promote it. This is the once-in-a-lifetime match. You have them do little promo videos on YouTube or some shit for them. But don't ever show them on TV. If they have some weekly show, don't ever show them. They don't need to. That thing sells itself. I don't want to see this thing going out in a fucking cane to the ring, and not Kane, I mean Cane, and the Undertaker getting wheelchaired to the ring. I don't want to see that shit. Let that happen when the match starts. Make me think that these guys have been training and are ready to wrestle.
And I was watching Sting's, for whatever reason, his match from right when he got hurt against Seth Rollins. Right. Sting, up that point, Sting could still go. He he was older, but he was still viable.
And they don't. If Undertaker has proven us anything the last 4 or 5 years at WWE, is he just needs to give us what we want.
Yeah.
He just needs to give us old school choke slam. He needs to sit up once or twice in the match,
roll his eyes behind his head, and call it a day.
Yeah.
That's
all he needs to do. Yeah, that's all. And you just give us that match that WWE did not think was big enough, and we've all been waiting for.
Do you think it's because they didn't think the match was big enough, or they wanted to do another match? They wanted to do the DX versus NWO thing?
I think they thought DX versus NWO was bigger than Sting against Taker.
I can understand that just because of the legacy
but Sting
of the
always fought against NWO. His legacy is him against the NWO.
But it's not them going against NWO. It's just because listen, to you and me, that storyline didn't make sense because why the hell is NWO coming to help Sting out? That does not make sense.
Why couldn't you have Sting and Undertaker and have DX come out and help Undertaker? Why couldn't you have that?
That would be that is essentially the same thing as
but I'm saying exactly.
I agree.
So if it made sense for NWO to come out and help Sting, why didn't it make sense
look
to
at the
DX
more casual fan? Look at the more casual fan. They just see, it's the NWO guys, it's the DX guys. Oh, these were the two big groups from WCW versus WWE. They're fighting.
That was not the match we needed or wanted to see.
I enjoyed it. I would have enjoyed it more again. Because their storyline going up to it, I enjoyed because it was basically them. It was Sting trying to bring down the Authority, and then in the middle of WrestleMania, it was just wait, this is now turning into NWO versus DX. I didn't want to see this. Maybe if that's how the match got built up, it maybe would have been better. But when it just I was just no, this is dumb.
Exactly, and that's it. Just if they want to bring eyes on them, this needs to happen. And I did not come into this conversation even thinking about it. You know why I'm thinking about it right now? Because on Starrcast website, they have the superstars listed, and there's literally the line is Sting, Undertaker, Bret Hart on one line, and Sting and Undertaker are conveniently next to each other.
Would you like to see? Maybe if Starrcast, they do a panel with Sting and Undertaker. So realistically, I don't see that match happening. The closest you can probably get is a panel of Undertaker and Sting to discuss.
Now, why do you not see that happening?
There's no way. I don't think so. I don't see Undertaker wrestling outside of WWE. These are the appearances are starting to come.
I don't want him to. Want him to. But as I said.
But I think the Undertaker is the one guy that WWE will basically pay the retention for, or the retainer for, and pay him so that he can't wrestle. Or they're going to pull the... So, this was some of the stuff I saw, comments on, Reddit and, stuff like that about, they're letting The Undertaker appear as The Undertaker at Starrcast. it's not wrestling, so it's basically a good faith to the Undertaker saying, yeah, you can use your gimmick for these appearances to get your money. Because WWE could have easily pulled nah, you ain't using the Undertaker gimmick at Starrcade, because then I don't think Mark Calloway shows up.
Right.
So WWE is just doing good faith, and it's a good PR stunt for them as well, just because it's showing, hey, yeah, we'll let you use your gimmick, depending on who you are at, this event. But, like, for a wrestling match, there's no way WWE is going to let him come out as The Undertaker. There's no way they were going to let him wrestle as that gimmick in another promotion.
If I give you Steve Borden against Mark Calloway.
I don't want that match.
No, hold on. I give you Steve Borden against Mark Calloway, right?
Yes.
Complete in the same attire. Same gimmick, same everything. You're not stupid. I'm not stupid. We know who they are.
I know, but if...
Now, I'm saying in full gimmick and gear. I don't want them in street clothes wrestling. I want them full gimmick and gear. I want them looking somewhat the same. You could give me a little bit different. If Sting's face paint's a little bit different. If Undertaker's hat is a little bit off. But he comes out the same way, does all the same moves, everything. You give me the same relative, same storyline, just with different names. Now, I'm not talking about outside WWE. I mean, I'm talking about outside WWE.
Yeah.
So it's understandable. But you're giving us the match that we never had. Same gimmick, same everything.
For me, I don't... There's something about the pomp and circumstance that goes with it that I want as part of it, especially now because these guys aren't in the prime of their wrestling career. So the match itself is probably going to be terrible, considering the fact that Sting would be the one that would have to carry it.
And it doesn't need to be long.
But because of that, because it's going to be a short match and it's not going to be great, I am more intrigued about the entertainment value around it. So having them build as Mark Calloway, that takes some of it from me that I don't know. Listen, if that match gets booked, I'm watching it. I'm paying for the pay-per-view.
That's my point.
Yeah, it's
in a perfect world, it would happen at WrestleMania as Sting and The Undertaker. In a perfect world, it would.
Yes.
I'm talking about an imperfect world here where you have WWE saying, no. You can't use The Undertaker. You can't use the Dead Man. You can't use Taker. You can't do this, that, and the other thing because we'll come after your ass. Now, one, I think a deal could be struck. I think The Undertaker's one of the few people that if it was important to him, now maybe it's not important to him to have this match, but let's say it's important to him because he feels like that's the match that should have happened. WWE is never going to give it to us, never going to give it to him. Let's say Undertaker, in the back of his mind, has always wanted this.
Yes.
He's completely done with the WWE at this point in a wrestling capacity. I know there's been rumors out. I'm saying 4 or 5 years from now. I'm not even talking about Sting and Undertaker today. I'm talking about years from now, where that match is going to be worse.
Oh, God.
But I'm talking a couple years from now. Undertaker's not wrestled at WrestleMania now for a couple of years. He's never coming back to wrestle, and they don't want him to come back and wrestle. Now, at this point, Undertaker kind of comes to them and goes, whatever, they're paying me this. They'll pay you this to let me use my gimmick one time. You know, they will even mention WWE. You know what I mean? Like, whatever you want. It's a one-off thing. I'm only showing up one time. They're finally giving it. As long as AEW is not a legitimate threat to WWE at that point, they have not built up to the point that they're now scared because they stole a bunch of wrestlers from them, I think a deal could be worked out. Today, I don't think that happens, but in a couple years, Undertaker hasn't wrestled. It could still be, you know, the old saying, no press is bad press.
Yeah.
You know, you have the Undertaker name, you talk about his accomplishments in WWE. I think a deal could be struck. Again, it's not going to happen today, but I think over time a deal could get struck.
I'm just thinking about, you know where we could get this match at?
Where?
Crown Jewel.
Yeah, I wish they would have done that. I wish they would have done that in one of those places. But the thing is, no offense to Sting, but I don't know that WCW was a huge thing to these countries. I think WWE was.
I don't think it was either.
And that's the problem, is if they're not requesting it, they're not giving it to them.
But if we get them to request it, hashtag Sting v Undertaker for Crown Jewel, or whatever the next one is.
We'll figure out a hashtag. We will get people to push the.
Yes.
Which one was Crown Jewel at? Saudi Arabia, or is that
I think it was
Australia one?
No, Crown Jewel was the Australia one was Super Showdown Under. Or was
you know what? I trust the Australians more. Let's get Super Showdown 2. Let's get them to ask for Sting and Undertaker. Let's send some promos. Let's hashtag this.
Listen, it got Shawn Michaels.
The Saudi Arabian prince thought that Yokozuna was still alive, so he might be. We could just tell him Sting is
my only
Undertaker's long lost brother.
My only concern is would you for whatever reason to throw a wrench in this to just annoy us is that they don't want the Crow Sting, they wanted Surfer Sting. So it would be Surfer Sting versus the American Badass Undertaker. How about that as a match? How about that as your
that's what
match?
We needed Starcast, or not Starcast, the Double or Nothing, or
Surfer Sting versus American Badass Undertaker.
Yeah.
It's
Mark Calloway against Surfer Sting.
It's like, here, we're giving you the match, but it's not exactly what you want.
Yeah.
I would watch it.
WWE owns the rights to these, so we are going to give you the ones they don't.
Yes. Yeah, they let
they let American Badass
lapse the copyright lapse on that. That is funny. Oh man. So yeah, I don't know. It's the Undertaker. I think I'm hoping he's just doing appearances. I legitimately don't see him actually wrestling. And the only reason why is Ric Flair had the track record of jumping around to different promotions to keep on wrestling all throughout his career. Undertaker had the chance and never left WWE. He's very loyal to Vince. So that's where I can see him starting to do these appearances just because it's easy money. And Vince has to see that, and that's why he's fine with him. Yeah, you can use Undertaker to promote yourself for this Starcast thing, because technically, it is related to AEW, but it's not fully related. So definitely, he's going to use it for that. But I do not see him actually wrestling
now
as the Undertaker for another company.
I want to revert back to something we were talking about, just because I just clicked on Undertaker's.
Bryce Harper still is not signed with the Phillies.
Yes.
If that's what we were going to bring
But the
up.
rumor is they're in the lead still.
Yes, that is the rumor from the last 7 years.
But now the Undertaker, the guy who's been so quiet, right? And I said he's getting up there.
Paul Bearer has been very quiet during this entire situation, so you're right. I wonder what he would want to have done.
I'm thinking the Saudi Arabian prince, we get him to ask for Undertaker and Kane against Sting and his longtime tag team partner from the old days.
Who?
Ultimate Warrior.
Oh God!
You dress somebody up like them, they won't know the difference.
Mojo Rawley.
But the Undertaker, did you know he has a Twitter?
He does?
Yes.
What's he tweet?
Well, the first one he did when he first made it, right? I didn't even know he had a Twitter. But the first one, you're looking it up.
Yeah.
The first one was from December 4th of last year, where it just says rest in peace and it's a picture. Then there's 2007 Dark Side, which is a video of him against Shawn Michaels. Evander Holyfield said, "Welcome to Twitter, Undertaker," and he said, "Thanks, champ." Deadman Inc. was just another tweet randomly to nothing. Bring it home today, Dallas Cowboys, America's team, which now I hate them.
Oh, yeah, he's a big Cowboys fan.
I don't make mistakes, I bury them. Then there's just a picture of a very old version of him with his eyes behind his back. Behind his back. It's crazy.
That's not an old photo. That's a relatively new one.
No, I mean like the old Undertaker. I'm saying he should have put an old picture because
okay.
he looks old. Then there's one that says caption, and then it says landed late last night. Must be meeting with somebody important today. Hashtag on the road again. Now, my question for you is,
who's he meeting with?
that was him for Starcast. That's already been. It's Tony Khan's private jet. That was when he met about Starcast. Yeah, because Tony Khan, I think, has something to do with Starcast, even though they're unrelated to each other. And they say that it's not an AEW event. They're actually independent of each other. They're not necessarily the same thing. They just work with each other.
Yes.
But the thing about this is, I have two questions. One, your whole thing from earlier. What the Undertaker at Get Engaged Media? See? Inquiries and booking. It says right here. Official page of the Dead Man. Business inquiries, booking.
Do you want
Undertaker at Get Engaged Media? First of all, I want him for my next birthday.
Well, I was going to ask, do we want to try to send him and get him on the podcast?
Yes. Find out how much he charges for a podcast. And I don't want him to say anything except rest in peace.
Although I am looking through his Twitter, he has pictures with Post Malone, which is interesting.
I have two questions for you. One, that whole thing you said earlier, right? About I don't want him to be that guy that's going to do all these appearances and shit. This right here just puts everything you just said out the window, because he absolutely is going to be that guy. You don't make a Twitter at the tail end of your WWE career unless you're trying to book events. This is completely not the Undertaker you know and love, and unfortunately, he's doing this purposely to book events. And I don't care what you say, you don't put in your thing inquiries and booking Undertaker at Get Engaged Media. So he's putting himself out there, and that's probably why he's doing Starcast now, because now he has a Twitter. They have somewhere, he's putting it out there that I want to be booked. And Starcast just went all over it. That's one. Number two, is it him or Michelle McCool that runs his Twitter?
I'm going to go with neither of them.
Really? Okay.
Just because there's 7 tweets. And there's somehow, I don't see it in his thread, but he has photos with Post Malone. And I'm just like, I don't get this.
Maybe Post Malone... yeah. Did he post it and then delete the tweet?
I don't know.
But then keep the picture on there?
I don't know. But yeah, he's a Cowboys fan, so Undertaker's, he's out of my books.
He's dead to me.
Oh man.
But either way, this, if anything, has shown that he will absolutely positively be doing other stuff.
He will be. Like I said, it's going to, we'll see where it goes to. I have no idea where it's going to actually end up being, but although this discussion really now has me excited for Surfer Sting versus the American Badass Undertaker.
Well, what I say, what you do is you have a best out of 3, right? And you just get 3 of their gimmicks together. Because you still have me, Mark Calloway. Me, Mark Calloway.
Okay.
I don't know. Sting's been 18 different versions. You get Joker Sting. There you go. TNA's Joker Sting. Or you get NWO Wolfpack Sting. You get the red face paint. You got 3 versions of each guy. You have best out of 3. It ends with Crow Sting. They don't even tell you who's going to be against each other. They make it random, like it's a surprise to them. You start off with Surfer Sting and American Badass. You go to Joker Sting and me, Mark Calloway. And then you finish it off with Crow Sting against The Undertaker.
See, I have a feeling they would mix up.
I wish people could have seen your face right there. It made that reaction to it. Your face where you were trying to think of something to say, and you're just...
I'm just like, because I'm thinking they would mess it up. They would accidentally put like Surfer Sting versus The Undertaker, or
and then
Badass, the American Badass versus Crow Sting.
But you bring Eric Bischoff out, right? And you have instead of
there we go.
Instead of having the what was the Raw Roulette?
Yeah.
You have Gimmick Roulette. And you go in and you just they spin the wheel.
The idea of Undertaker sitting there spinning the wheel is Oh man.
Or you just bring Jay Lethal out, let him impersonate the Undertaker.
Like, I'm reading Undertaker's last tweet, and it feels like a 13-year-old girl wrote it. Landed late last night, meeting with someone important
That's
today.
my point. Like, do you think... Now, and maybe he's paying somebody to do it, and I'm sure he's got a manager and stuff that has somebody do it for him. But let's say, on the off chance this is his personal Twitter, like he's doing it out on his own, let's say, right? Yeah, the option... Does Undertaker have kids?
Aren't we all a little bit the Undertaker's kids at heart?
Yeah, I guess so.
I have no idea.
Doesn't that say, that's why I was saying the tweets almost seem like something that if one of them two are doing it, it's Michelle McCool before it is the Undertaker, or the Undertaker has just ruined how I view him as a man.
Yeah,
that he's. I hope to God it's not the Undertaker posting it. Like usually you want it to be that person, right? Like you want to think that all those jokes being cracked.
Taker
Becky.
has 4 kids. It looks like.
Okay. Are any of them a 13-year-old girl?
Maybe a boy. He had a boy born in '93, so that would make them old. They had 2 daughters. Actually, one of them might be a 13-year-old girl because they had 2 daughters born in. He had 2 daughters born in 02 and 05. So yeah, the 05 one would be right around 13.
So there you go. But this is one of the few times that I hope to God it is not the actual person posting the tweets. You know? You see all the funny ones from like Becky Lynch, and you're like, I hope it's her. Yes. I hope it's her because it's hilarious. I hope it's her. This, I'm like, dear God, please, don't do
this to us.
Yes, don't. I do not want to think that this is how you talk in your normal life.
Oh man! All right, we have anything else really to discuss with the Undertaker? This was kind of a train wreck of an episode, but I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I think it came out a little bit better, and you can thank me for the whole Sting Undertaker.
I thank you for a lot of. I thank you for a lot of things in my life. All right, Mike.
But that's the only way I want to see him wrestle outside of WWE.
Is the Sting match?
Kinda, yeah. If you can give us in some way, shape, or form, it don't even have to be a singles match. I would like it to be, but don't. If you can give us some way, shape, or form, Sting and Undertaker in the ring together. Hell, it doesn't even have to be a match. Let it be one of those appearances where they just brawl.
Yeah.
You could some way, shape, or form lead us to Sting and Undertaker in the ring at the same time. Because that's what we've wanted. We still haven't gotten that, right? We have not gotten them two in the ring in full gimmick with each other.
No.
And that's all you really need. That's what you give us that. I know he's not showing up to AEW, but you give us something like that at Double or Nothing, just them standing in the ring. That's all I need. They don't even need to touch each other. Just need to see them in the ring together. But yeah, if you're not going to give us that, yeah, stay away, Undertaker. Stay away.
Yeah, I part of me thinks he's smart enough to stay away, to help. Like, I think part of me, he gets it, and he understands for his own.
Yeah, but you give him that Brock Lesnar money for a one-off.
Well, that's where I think he's not going to, like, so, like, you were joking, like, those bookings, like, he has the booking email. Like, he's not listening to ones unless, like, unless there's an offer that's worth it.
Yeah, in my mind, and not to get too far back into it, but you, as a wrestling fan, you know that that's, like, the holy grail of matches. As a wrestling fan,
Sting versus
the Undertaker.
Yes,
right. That is not only is that going to bring indie fans to you, it's going to bring WWE loyalists to your show. It just is. It absolutely will.
Yeah.
Now, can you really put a price on that? Can a guy with an absurd amount of money backing company,
which we've seen,
can you really put a price on that? That brings more attention to them than anything else can.
Yeah.
Anything. And I'll include them signing Brock Lesnar. Sting Undertaker brings more attention that they need. Brock Lesnar's not attention they need right now. They're not big enough to have people who know who Brock Lesnar is. They need wrestling fans first that enjoy wrestling. They don't need outsiders coming in and being like, who the hell are these guys? They need wrestling fans first.
That's where if you have, like, if they do book that match, which, again, they probably are not, but that means they understand wrestling. That means Tony Khan, they get the wrestling part of it. That is like, this is not a Brock Lesnar, one-off appearance, or like, hey, we got this really, a Stephen Amell like person.
Yeah,
we got a wrestling match.
And if they're listening to the guys that are apparently executive producers and helping out, if they're listening to Cody Rhodes and Jericho, and they're actually listening to them when they tell them, hey, this would be huge for us.
Yes. It sets them up as a wrestling company and not as a entertainment company, which is the difference between what WWE and AEW is going to be.
Which is so outrageous to think that we're saying right now it sets them up as wrestling and not entertainment, when Undertaker's whole gimmick is more entertainment than anything. But they're wrestling legends.
Yes.
It's not. You could give us, and I know the rumors are out there that they're throwing money at Goldberg and they're throwing money at Brock Lesnar, and maybe those are true, or maybe they're just smart and throwing those names out there to say, look, we have absurd amount of money that we're even talking to these guys.
Yeah.
Just think what we can do when the guys you want to see are free agents. But that in my mind is a difference maker. As a wrestling company, that's a difference maker. That is the only thing they should ever worry about if you're going to bring legends into your company, is to do that. You can give us that, you turn a lot of non-believers into believers, I feel like. Now, do I think it's going to happen? I'd say the odds are probably under 5% chance of that ever happening.
There is no chance of that match
I'm
happening.
only even putting it there around 5% because of the absurd amount of money that he has.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why. And the fact that they're smart enough to put Sting and The Undertaker next to each other on the promotions for StarCast. That they're smart enough to do that. And the funny thing is they're not around other wrestlers. There's literally, they have Jimmy Havoc, Joey Janela, and Penelope Ford above them, and then below them is Bruce Pritchard, Eric Bischoff, and Tony Schiavone. Like, there's guys like Kevin Nash, Scott Hall down a little bit further, then other legends like Ricky Steamboat and Arn Anderson. You go down, they're all down there. But you literally have Bruce Pritchard, Bischoff, and Tony Schiavone right underneath them. Like, it's almost purposely, and there's no offense to Joey Janela or Jimmy Havoc, but you don't have the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega above them. You don't have Kevin Nash and Scott Hall below them. Hell, you don't even have Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler below them. In my mind, I almost feel like that was done on purpose. They're sitting in the middle with nobody really around them. And I feel like it was done a little bit on purpose.
Yeah.
And if they have people like that around them with the thought process, and how I think Bret Hart's there for a reason too. I think it's because they're all legends and stuff like that, but I think they're next to each other for a reason. And I think they understand that. And whether they could give it to us, again, that 5% is because they have an absurd amount of money. And we seen Saudi Arabia will pay Shawn Michaels to come out of retirement. You throw somebody absurd amount of money for a one-off match, especially one that you probably feel like Sting and The Undertaker feel like should have happened. It's a match they both probably wish they could have done. I think anything's possible at that point. So
David Arquette's going to be there.
That's what I was saying. You put Joey Ryan on one side and David Arquette on the other side of The Undertaker.
Yeah,
I want somebody to take that picture.
Oh man, that would be that would.
Yeah, hold on, really quick. You were looking at the StarCast thing, right?
Yeah, I just pulled it up.
You see how they have like everybody's names, and then they have like The Undertaker has like an urn with a U in it.
Yeah.
And there's the scorpion for Sting. Can you explain to me why Bret Hart does not have a heart? He's literally based as a card.
Yeah.
And it's BH.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, they really... I had
Hell,
to
even Ricky Steamboat has a logo, and you don't even have to put like the Heart Foundation logo. Just put a heart, literally a heart.
Because I was
think
looking,
they missed the boat on that one.
I was looking down because Eric Bischoff has 83 on his card.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what the fuck is that in relation to?
That's his podcast.
83 weeks. Yeah, that's in his little card thing. It says from 83 weeks. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I guess that's.
But that's like you have logos for Sting and Undertaker, and then next to him it says BH. Like Kenny Omega even has the Omega sign. Like why is that not a heart? I need to talk to the people who made this. I'm sending them an email.
Get on top of that.
Yeah.
Alrighty. You have anything else you want to touch on before we go? Episode 50's rapidly coming up.
Yeah.
We have to figure out what we're doing for it.
I'm still standing strong on what we mentioned a couple weeks ago.
What, a panel with the...
At the very least, us two.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you want to do... We'll discuss it right here. Well, no, I'll discuss it after the show. We'll discuss it after we...
Yeah, we don't want to make promises on the podcast that we can't fulfill.
We've done that plenty of times. That people... We've been losing listeners because they're waiting for Peachy to get shot by a paintball gun that we promised, like, the 5th episode of this, and we're already up to...
we were 48. Trying to do a wacky radio stunt to draw in fans, and it just failed miserably.
You know what? If this podcast ever ends and it doesn't happen, I will still be pushing for that. I promise. My promise to you people out there is, as somebody who's not involved in the bet, is if this show ends tomorrow, there will be a video out there of Peachy being shot by a paintball gun. I will make sure that happens, and it'll get sent out.
Leave us your email addresses.
Yes. We will be putting it on VHS tapes.
We'll send it to Undertaker's booking agent as well.
Yeah.
Since we have their address.
Maybe we can bring the show back after losing it then.
Yes.
With the appearance from The Undertaker.
So, alrighty. Anything else? What do we got talking next week? Do we think of anything yet?
I'm still up for what I would want to talk about this week, but...
What was it again? It was something with Charlotte?
I want the pros and cons of officially adding her as a triple threat at WrestleMania.
I think, based off of what I saw last night, is this becoming a triple threat match?
Yeah, but I just want to. That's why I wanted it this week. Okay. I didn't want it to become official before we talked about it, but instead, something that's happening in May, you want to talk about instead of a WrestleMania thing. So thank you for that, Walt.
You're welcome. You have veto powers. You could have said no. Don't put this curse on me, Ricky Bobby.
No, it was a 2 out of 3 vote. You and Peachy both voted for this.
No, that's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie.
No, I've always been the one that's always said, let's stop doing so many WWE things. And I know it's the easy stuff to do,
especially now this season.
Yeah,
I just can't believe there are 2 pay-per-views between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania now.
I didn't even realize it until the other day. I read something, I think, where they were talking about Charlotte and Rousey or something like that, and it said, like, what will happen in Elimination Chamber and Fastlane leading into it. And I was like, wait, what?
Jesus.
Fastlane? We literally did... I mean, the episode never aired, but we did a whole episode about why it was pointless to have Elimination Chamber as the pay-per-view in between the Rumble and WrestleMania. And I'm so happy that didn't air now, because that was one of the biggest things. What they have one pay-per-view. I think I even said they used to have Fastlane in between it. I looked up past years, and I said that Fastlane used to be the pay-per-view in between. And I think I even mentioned that in the episode.
Well, we'll never find out because someone. You have your audio still.
Yeah, mine's still out there. I could put. That's a special episode out there. Maybe we'll play some competition if you want to listen to a one-sided conversation of a lost episode.
Yeah. Oh man. So, alrighty, let's wrap it up. I got nothing else. I can go. You can go to bed. I can go back to sleep.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yep. So, thank you everyone for listening. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Peachy, thank you for
your contribution.
Thank you for being you. You know what? He gave me a ride home last night, so I will thank him for that.
Thank you for being a friend, Peach.
Yes, I did. I got dropped off at the poker tournament.
Come on, Walt.
What? I'm trying to be nice.
I led you in with a Golden Girls reference, and you couldn't even.
I never watched Golden Girls. He drove me home last night because I got dropped off and didn't have a ride and wanted to stay and play cash games. We only got up to like I think it was like $120 hand of Morocco.
And our very own Matthew Fico was the first one out of the tournament.
Yes, so. He gets his name on a plaque. That's more than what I have, and I've won it twice. No big deal. Just dropping that knowledge on you folks. 2-time winner, 1-time runner-up. No big deal.
Yeah, I pull my Undertaker status. I show up once every couple years.
And we
dominate, and then
we watch you perform, and you're like, "Why is he still doing this? He's too old." Like, just die already. That's what we say when you play cards. Alrighty, thanks everybody listening. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good rest of your week, and we will catch you next week. Later, guys.